Sir, we will wait another 3-4 minutes and then we will begin. Is that okay, sir? Thank you. Sir, shall I begin?
Yes, of course.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, good evening, sir. Dr. Patnaik, sir. Good evening, doctors, and welcome, a warm welcome on behalf of Shield Healthcare. And thank you for joining this webinar. So, before we begin, we are very happy to inform you that we have started a digital platform which is called as Shield Connect. And this platform is nothing but a one-stop destination for all the caregivers, patients, and doctors too, and which can be used for the educational purposes and also for the dissemination of scientific data. So before we begin with the sir's talk, we would like to play the audio video of this Shield Connect digital platform.
ভিডিও রয়েছে ওয়েবিনার টি ছাড়ি করছে ওয়েবিনার
So Chitakala, can you play this AV? Thank you, Chitrakala. Sir, there is a link on the screen, so can you click on it so that the inauguration of Shield Connect will happen?
This one?
Yes, sir.
Clicked on it.
Yes, sir, it is opening.
Okay.
So yes, sir, this is our digital platform. There are multiple pages, not only for the doctors. So we share all our webinars through this Shield Connect. Also, many blogs are available. The information would be available for the caretakers and the patients as well. So thank you, Chitrakala. So we will begin with Sir's talk, and it is my honor to introduce Sir. Dr. Patnaik is ex-Special Secretary of Health and Family Welfare, Odisha Government, ex-Director of Health Services and Director of Public Health in Odisha, President of Association of Obs and Gynecologists of Odisha from 2015 to 2016, past Vice President of OPSI in 2009, also past President of Indian Menopause Society in 2015 and past Vice President in 2012 and Secretary General in 2010. Sir is a member of Governing Council of ECOG from 2011 to 2014. Also National Corresponding Editor, Foxy Journal from 2012 to 2015. Sir was a chairperson of Geriatric Gynecology Committee of Foxy from 2004 to 2008. Active member of Foxy since 1990. Sir is a life member of IMA, Foxy, IMS, ISAR and ISPAT as well. Sir has delivered many guest lectures and chairs many scientific sessions in national and international congresses. Sir has numerous publications in gynecological journals and contributed chapters in different books on obs and gynecology. Sir has edited a book, An Update on Menopause in 2008, and Sir has recipient of the award that is Shri Ratna Samman in 2008, felicitated by many gynecological societies of the country. Sir is actively involved in many social movements for rural women and older age people. So with this, may I request and invite Dr. Patnaik for his talk on effective and safe menopause management. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for those kind words. I really feel privileged to be here in this platform with you all. My friends over here, right. Many of my friends, seniors, colleagues, I find today, and I am really lucky to share my feelings to you today. Today, I will be discussing on effective and safe menopause management. Maybe my association with Indian Menopause Society as its past president, vice president and secretary general, and finding this chapter in Odisha has this connection. And before that, I was the chairperson of Geriatric Gynecology Committee of Foxy, which subsequent became the Midlife Management Committee of Foxy. Thank you, Dr. Prachi, for those kind words.
My honor and my pleasure, sir.
And today, when we discuss menopause management, I will be discussing little about menopause, which you all know in the general term, and the complication, the problem, the management, how you take rest, and any newer things, and my experience, a small experience with a new molecule, which I will be discussing at the end. And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, it is then your option, your choice, your decision, your clinical judgment, which will give the boost to my presentation. Well, the topic will be flowing like this, starting with definition and epidemiology of menopause, which all know we'll be discussing, physiological mechanism, the clinical profile, existing therapeutic paradigm, and newer drugs and newer molecule, which we will be discussing. Well, we know that from no period with wrinkles to period with wrinkles. Would you say that woman, which is a flowing stream, suddenly become a tranquil pool? Menopause really means that in Greek it is told mens pau. Mens means monthly and pau means stop, cessation. So cessation of menses is called menopause. Well, it's a normal phase of a woman's life. It is a natural process. As the woman ages, the ovaries are depleted of their follicles, and when the follicles are exhausted, there is no more production of estrogen, which stops the menses, and this cessation is called menstruation. It is the permanent cessation of menstruation and of reproductive potential due to loss of ovarian follicular activity. If you look at our country today, 730 lakhs of women are India in menopausal age. Different strata, different place, different women. But only 5% of them get treatment. And it's a very, very pathetic situation because many of the women do not have access. If they have access, they do not have knowledge. If they have knowledge, they have very little expectation from the current management. And even they think that probably it happens with all women and they have to suffer, they have to accept, and they have to tolerate, which is not a fact. It is we, the healthcare provider, have to tell them that even though it is a natural process, this has a solution, this and treatment is there, and you can lead a better quality of life. Well, the incidence in menopause in India, we all know that the average age of menopause in India is 46.2 years. It is a little lesser than the Western countries where it is 51 and 52. And today in our country, 130 million women are living, and most of them have more than one symptom of menopause. And if you see the prevalence of menopause symptoms, and starting from vasomotor, the psychological, the physical, and the quality of life, it is told that the prevalence of one symptom related to vasomotor was 21%, and physical was 91.5%, and psychosocial is around 45%. If we compare Dr. Behera Mankleshwarya, our past president of Indian Menopause Society, has done an extensive study on menopause in Indian women and vis-a-vis of Western women. He found out that Indian women suffer more of urological problem in comparison to the Western counterpart who suffers from vasomotor symptoms, the psychosexual problem, and sexual problem is zero in our country. The quality of life and bother analysis revealed that all those with menopausal symptom also have their quality of life affected to mild to moderate extent. Yes, of course, and the prevalence of symptom was around 47% in our country. I told you that from periods with no wrinkles to periods, no periods with wrinkles. If you come to the physiologic mechanism, you say we can have a phase of menopause, which you say that spectrum of menopausal problem. I will come to that. The first one is premenopause, then comes perimenopause, then comes menopause and postmenopause. What is premenopause? The broad definition of premenopause is that time prior to menopause, and this occurs occurrence of menopause before the age of 40 years. Perimenopause is a period from women's life characterized by physiological changes associated with the end of reproductive capacity and terminating with completion of menopause, which we call as climacteric. And menopausal phase is the end of menstruation. And the age of menopause, I have already told, in our country, average is 45 to 55 years. average being 50 years in the entire world. And always menopause is decided in retrospect. By retrospect, if you do not experience menses for 12 consecutive months or 12 consecutive period, and then you say that menopause has already occurred. That's right. And the period after that is called postmenopausal. So again, coming back, that 730 lakhs of women in India are in menopausal women, and alas, only 5% of them are getting treatment. We see, I told you that is the female hormone estrogen, which is responsible for the menses along with progesterone and of course other hormones. See what is the changes which occur? The estrogen E2, which rises gradually, and at the age of puberty it gets the peak, and during the entire reproductive period of 15 to 45 years it remains in a high plateau. Then at menopause it suddenly comes down, and around 50-55 years it goes down and comes slowly down after that. And even though there will be small amount of estrogen which is still liberated by the aging ovary or in the peripheral tissue, which gives some amount of estrogen to this. I told about the menopause and the stages of menopause. 30 to 45 is premenopause, and it is the period of irritability, cramps, insomnia. And the perimenopause period, there is irregular period, night sweats, weight gain, hot flushes, and loss of libido. In the menopause and postmenopause period, we start with the vaginal discomfort, breast cancer, depression, and late menopause or post-menopause, there will be more of vaginal dryness, there will be osteoporosis, urinary infection, urinary incontinence, heart disease, and so on and so forth. Well, the effect of estrogen in the reproductive organ, I'll tell that the effect of estrogen is on breast, is on uterus, is on urogenital organs. In the breast, it helps in healthy development of breast tissue. For health and growth and development of breast, estrogen has a great role. Uterus, it's helped to repair the endometrium, to prepare the uterus for the fetus in supplementation with the progesterone. In urogenital system, it helps to maintain the lubrication of vagina, it maintains the rugosity, integrity of ureteral and urethral epithelium, which leads to normal sexual function. In non-reproductive organ like breast, heart, liver, and bone, the main four of them, I'll tell that it helps to maintain the psychological well-being. That is the effect on the brain. Second thing, in cardiovascular system, it regulates the cholesterol metabolism. It maintains the right ratio of LDL versus HDL. And second thing, in the vasomotor symptoms, it regulates normal temperature and perspiration. It is the woman does not feel uncomfortable during the entire childbearing period. In the liver, it helps to regulate fat metabolism and distribution of fat, and so their obesity occurs later in postmenopausal period. In bone, it helps to maintain the bone mineral density. Skin, it helps in collagen synthesis and maintains skin integrity. So in postmenopausal period, the skin loses its lusterness, loses it because collagen is lost, it becomes wrinkled. So estrogen in target organ, the 30 to 40% of estrogen utilization occurs in non-reproductive organ like brain, heart, liver, and bone, and 60 to 70% utilization occurs in breast and uterus. So what happened in the menopause, the root cause, I have already told that every month there occurs menses, and in each cycle we lose some amount of ovarian follicle. And at this phase, at the end of estrogen, there is complete follicular depletion. If there is no follicle, there is no production of estrogen. And if there is no production of estrogen, menses occurs. Menses stop or menopause occurs. This can be also done by surgical removal of uterus or ovaries, hysterectomy and oophorectomy, even by radiation, like chemicals, other things, where you lose the ovarian function and you lose the ovarian follicle. So, I will like to say that this estrogen affinity, which has called estrogen receptor. Estrogen receptor is placed in the urogenital, uterine, reproductive organ as well as non-reproductive organ. What happens? Estrogen has affinity for all the receptors, and there is an upregulation of reproductive organs like breast and endometrium. There is a downregulation on the non-reproductive organ. So, downregulation of estrogen in non-reproductive organ, which you called as menopausal symptoms. It is identified by a index which you call the Cooper-Man index. It starts with vaginal dryness, hot flushes, night sweats, paresthesia, insomnia, nervousness, melancholia, dizziness, fatigue, arthritic pain, formication, palpitation, and headache. All these things are taken into consideration of Cooper-Man index. So, I will come little bit of vasomotor symptom. As many as 75 to 80% of women in their perimenopausal and early postmenopausal period report hot flashes. I told you that Western women complain more about vasomotor symptom and hot flashes more than our Eastern women. And in 10 to 15% of women, it is very, very severe. Highest occurrence occurs during perimenopause and first 2 years in the postmenopausal period, and it is last maximum up to 5 to 7 years, self-limiting. And in only 9% of women, very negligible, after the age of 70, we feel. Otherwise, most women after 55 or so do not feel hot flushes. So the vasomotor symptom affects 75% women. It creates intense heat in the face, forehead, neck, chest, and earlobe, associated with night sweats, irritability, lethargy, insomnia, and tiredness. It is more pronounced in premature menopause or surgically induced menopause. That is why we give hormone replacement therapy in premature menopause or surgical removal menopause. I will not go to the detail of hot flushes and night sweats, but I want to say that the woman has a sudden feeling of warmth and flushing that starts in the face, quickly spreads to the neck and upper body. The hot flushes can occur any time in the day or night, and it vary in number every 1 hour or every 15 minutes, and they are associated with profuse sweating. Night sweats is so much that suddenly she gets up at night and she is perspiring and she cannot go back to sleep again. If you see the genitourinary symptoms, I told you that estrogen is responsible for the estrogenization of female reproductive organ. There is well estrogenized premenopausal. You can see the genital symptom, the endoepithelium, the vaginal epithelium, the uterine epithelium, all are thick and estrogenized. But as estrogen level falls, it shrinks in size, it depletes, it breaks and becomes only low lying. This vaginal dryness occurs because there is complete depletion of estrogen. The vaginal epithelium becomes dry, it becomes atrophic, it has no lubrication. This causes difficulty in sex or dyspareunia, and dyspareunia causes disinterest in sex and decreased libido, and this is a cycle which go on. Dyspareunia, loss of libido leading to disinterest in sex, and so on and so forth. Mood swings. We know that women have mood swings very often in their counterpart, and other psychological symptoms like this, insomnia, depression, anxiety, fatigue, irritability, and memory loss, and there is a problem to concentrate in the menopausal women. The physiological changes, the lack of estrogen in the women affect their health and well-being. The symptoms of menopause change due to metabolism in the body. There is increased cholesterol level in the blood, osteoporosis. There is a calcium loss from the bone is increased by in the first 5 years on the onset of menopause, resulting in loss of bone density. And the calcium moves out of the bone, leaving the bone weak, friable, liable for fracture on small stress. Digestive system, motor activity of the entire digestive system is diminished, so it can lead to various intestinal disorder, mainly constipation. Urinary symptom I have already told that because of decreased estrogen level after menopause, the tissue, the lining, the inner lining of the urethra, the bladder becomes thinner, they are drier, and they cause frequent urinary frequency, urgency, incontinence, and so on and so forth. And this also leads to urinary infection. What happens? The genital organs, mainly the uterus, it becomes small, it becomes atrophic or fibrotic, and it leads these muscle support, the ligamentary support are become loose, and it can lead to prolapse. The ovaries also become small and shriveled. The ovaries which do not produce estrogen, but they still produce some amount of androgen, which still is released from these ovaries. I have already told that vaginal mucous membrane become dry, become thin, it loses its rugosity, and there is secretion of the vaginal in the vaginal mucosa, and it makes sexual intercourse difficult, painful, leading to dyspareunia, and so on and so forth. So on the contrary, there is an upregulation of estrogen activity affinity in the reproductive organ. In the reproductive organ, there are the two things I want to say, that in the affection of the breast, and it is more affinity attached to the breast tissue and endometrial tissue, which can lead to proliferation of breast and cancer, and also there is a risk of endometrial cancer. The long-term complication, as you say, of menopause, which occurs late in post-menopausal period, I've already told that there is risk for cancer of breast and endometrium. There is a stroke, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, Alzheimer's disease, so on and so forth. If you look at osteoporosis, 25% of women beyond 60 years, they have osteoporosis. They start with osteopenia, then they gradually go for osteoporosis. It is affecting around 40% of men beyond 65 and 50% of men beyond 70 are affected by osteoporosis. The bone health, the menopause, because of estrogen depletion, there is impaired calcium and vitamin D absorption. This leads to increased calcitonin, osteocalcin, and ALP, decrease in BMD. This leads to fracture risk and pathological fractures. Finally, then what we should do? With all these problems, we must offer the treatment to the woman. So the treatment option today, if I will, so the one is hormonal treatment, osteoporotic treatment, and non-menopausal hormone treatment. I'll come to that, but let me say about the menopausal hormone treatment, which we call as MHT or HT. The main hormone which is replaced is estrogen in form of hormone replacement therapy. And it was conjugated equine estrogen. Subsequently, we use 17-beta estradiol and hemihydrate or estriol or estradiol valerate. The synthetic estrogen is tibolone, or you can give estrogen and progesterone in combination. So hormone replacement therapy is indicated in menopausal women to overcome short-term and some of the long-term consequences of estrogen deficiency. HRT can be administered orally in tablet form or pill form, vaginally as vaginal gel or pessary, transdermal in patch, and because it replaces female hormone produced by the ovary and causes hormone replacement. This therapy minimizes menopause symptoms, particularly vasomotor symptoms to great extent. But it is told that hormone replacement therapy or hormone therapy should be given to the lowest possible dose with the shortest possible time. I'll come to that. So if you look at HRT, the option is 17-beta estradiol and conjugated equine estrogen. And it again has three forms: estradiol, estradiol hemihydrate, estriol, and estradiol valerate. And the conjugated equine estrogen is available as topical form and oral form. So hormone therapy has a risk of endometrial cancer, and it has a risk of breast cancer. It has a risk of venous thromboembolism. It alters lipid metabolism, and it may lead to dementia or Alzheimer's disease in a small proportion of cases. So the disadvantages has been discussed. I will come to the WHI trial. Estrogen and progesterone over prolonged period known to cause stimulate cell division. That is for sure, it is known. And it seems to increase breast cancer up to 9%. And hormone therapy also appears to risk of heart disease by 25%. Women taking hormone therapy to reduce risk of Alzheimer's disease, actually there is a little increase of Alzheimer's in small percentage of women. In order to prevent increasing your risk to certain disease, it is suggested that HRT should not be used for more than 5 years. We say that Indian Menopause Society recommends that low dose hormone therapy or the minimum dose which is effective for the woman, and it should be used for a period of 3 to 5 years. Why this concept appeared? You know, there is a WHI trial, Women's Health Initiative trial, taken place by National Institute of USA, and this was there to see the effect of estrogen in menopausal women. This WHI trial started in the year 1993 and continued up to 2006, the trial period. It has got two arms. One is estrogen and progesterone arm. Estrogen and progesterone were given to non-hysterectomized women, meaning women who have the intact uterus. Entire number of women taken in the group were 16,608. And these women were given combined equine estrogen 0.625 milligram along with medroxyprogesterone acetate 10 milligram in last 10 days. And the other women who have already hysterectomized, there is no uterus, so there is no place of giving progesterone. They were only given 0.625 milligram of equine estrogen, and they were given only E2. And what really happened, that this trial was continuing, and this trial was terminated in the between. And it was found that estrogen plus progesterone associated with increased risk of breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, and there is more harm than benefit. In fact, there is certain rise in the percentage of breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, and for that, this trial was stopped. And estrogen alone trial was stopped before that in March 2004 because it has increased risk. The Western women, they are more conscious, and they are not as interested to have any complication. And this, when it has came out that it can cause breast cancer, it can cause endometrial cancer, it has more benefit. So instead of, they forgot about the benefit of hormone therapy and they avoided hormones. And once upon a time, the estrogen, which was taken as a panacea, the drug for feminine forever, youth forever, young forever, was taken a second look. People started thinking, women all over the world, they thought that estrogen causes cancer. Estrogen causes cancer. So they were afraid, they are not interested. They are not interested to take estrogen alone. They boycotted, they did not take this hormone replacement therapy. So in the post-WHI era, because of the media hype, because of the increased risk of complication as was suggested, women turn their face to non-hormones. So that is a phase where people chose for alternative option to menopausal hormone therapy. And there was soy isoflavone was promoted, and this is a weak estrogen. It is a plant estrogen supplement, but it came with this concept that Japanese women do live longer. They do not have menopausal symptoms so much like the Western counterpart. Even women are around 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 and beyond are living a healthy life because they consume a lot of soya. And soya contains isoflavons, and this isoflavon has estrogen in them. It is a plant estrogen. It helps. But it was found that it is not the exact supplementation, or it does not help in so much like hormone therapy. So there are other findings were there, phytoestrogens and estrogen in black cohosh, red clover, and so on and so forth, ginkgo biloba, and so many alternative herbal preparation were proposed, and they are told that these are organic. These are non-hormonal. This is so you can take it safely. It does not have any complication. But these alternative preparation, these phytoestrogens, these isoflavons could not deliver the good or could not cure the menopausal symptoms of the suffering woman. So it was found in a study that daily administration of a tablet containing 200 milligram of soya isoflavone for 2 years did not prevent bone loss and or menopausal symptoms could not be cured. So we are in search of a new drug, an ideal drug for menopausal treatment. And this should be such a drug that it should be breast free, breast safe, and bleed free. And this should not have the negative effect of estrogen on endometrium and breast, and it should have a positive effect on it has a positive effect on the brain, heart, liver, and bone, so that the woman will not have menopausal symptoms, but they will have less osteoporosis, they will have less Alzheimer's disease, and so on and so forth. So here the root cause is estrogen depletion in the reproductive organ. So option 1, we have told that is a strong estrogen for hormone replacement therapy, or a second option was soya isoflavone, it is a weak estrogen, and here is my experience with a new molecule. And estrogen affinity to endometrial receptor, the purpose is to up regulation in non-reproductive organ and down regulation in reproductive organ, so that there will be less chance of endometrial cancer and breast cancer. There will be positive effect on brain, heart, bone, and liver. So we should have a drug, we should have a medicine which will be a good medicine for menopausal symptom relief like hormone therapy, but it should not have a risk of cancer, venous thromboembolism, or stroke associated with hormone therapy. So the current treatment option is either HRT or isoflavone, and which was in the perimenopausal period, in the postmenopausal period, there is altering the up and down regulation on non-reproductive and reproductive organ. So there is we have to have a new molecule, and Shield Healthcare promotes Estrogen 100. This is the last part of the presentation with this new molecule. With my small experience with this, I will share with you. And what actually Estrogen 100? It is cinnamic acid, 45 milligram, and N-methyl ester, another 42 milligram, and dicursin and dicursinol, around 45 milligram. Total is around that. And Estrogen 100 is a non-estrogenic hormone regulator. It has no affinity on estrogen receptor, either alpha or beta, so that it does not stimulate the breast tissue or the endometrial tissue. And rather, in addition to this, it inhibits the MCF7 cells, so it prevents cancer in these two. There are 3 randomized trials. conducted in USA and Korea, and they're supplementing data in the different journals. And evidences shows in this study that it improves vaginal dryness, it improves hot flushes and mood swings and bone pain. And this relief of symptoms come within 7 to 14 days. Bravo! We are very happy. If we get this symptom relief within 2 weeks, then our women will be very happy. And it is shown that there is a significant reduction in Cooperman index system. 10 out of 12 Cooperman index, there is a reduction. So the efficacy was studied on the perimenopausal women for 1 year. It was studied that over a period of 1 year, there is a decrease in osteocalcin and alkaline phosphatase. And there is an improvement of bone mineral density studied in the femoral bone. And it suggests that estrogen 100 improves the bone health and parameters significantly. The study was done in women on study to see that these women, if they are treated for bone mass density BMD and bone markers, weight and BMI and lipid profile and human growth hormone FSH and E2, it was measured and the analysis were studied, and it was found that the perimenopausal women may have benefit from estrogen 100 on supplement, especially for climacteric symptom, femur neck bone mineral density, serum triglyceride, human growth hormone without weight gain or any serious side effects. And if the improvement which is seen in these women is worth. And in conclusion, it is reported that a 12-week treatment with estrogen 100 showed a statistically significant improvement in the various menopausal symptoms such as hot flush, night sweats, paresthesia, insomnia, nervousness, melancholia, fatigue, rheumatic pain, vaginal dryness, compared to placebo group. There is no adverse effect as reported by estrogen 100 so far as BMI, E2 level, FSH level, and so on and so forth. So because it proves that it is a safer drug and it can be used very nicely. If you see that Cooperman index, there is a reduction in 10 out of 12 indices are coming down, and hot flushes are drastically removed. And with this, we suggest that oral administration of estrogen 100 for 12 weeks statistically significantly improved the quality of life in 9 different symptoms. The 9 different symptom improvement like hot flushes, night sweats, paresthesia, nervousness, melancholia, vertigo, fatigue, rheumatic pain, formification, vaginal dryness, pre, peri, and postmenopausal women. Well, so insomnia could be included in the number of the improved menopausal symptom because of the changes in the mean score. And there is no adverse effect was reported with estrogen 100. Weight, biochemical markers, as well as serum hormone level were not changed with any statistical significance. Along with the past study result, estrogen 100 was found to be safe and effective herbal formula that can improve women's quality of life and various menopausal symptoms. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ideal drug, post-surgical hysterectomy or oophorectomy and surgically induced menopause or premature menopause. And the FSH level in this study, they say that it is not an active estrogenic compound. So the mean serum FSH level also remain unchanged in an indication that estrogen 100 has no toxicity. And it was tried in an animal model, it tried in human volunteer and proved that it lacks of toxicity. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a new drug. We are all scientists in our own field and we believe today on evidence-based medicine. Whatever I say, whatever I propose, whatever the study says, finally it comes to you doctors. to we all. And we see that today our women need an alternative treatment to menopause management. They are afraid of hormones, and hormone have a place. If there is no other drugs which is effective in real hot flushes syndrome. But we have seen over this period that we are not getting an ideal drug for menopause management. And this is a new drug, the Jadoo Ki Chirag Ho, or if you try it, you see it. If you are satisfied, you should use it, and you have your own evidence will suggest whether it is good or bad. If it is good, it will run in, or otherwise it will go to the Bay of Bengal. And I hope with these few words, I would like to thank you for my small experience on menopause management and this new drug, Estrogen 100. And you are the best judge to tell your opinion when you use it, when you see your patient improving or suffering. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the excellent presentation, and especially your conviction on estrogen. That's really beneficial. So thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. And
So
the people who are here, 130 people who are here, will be the judges for Estrogen 100 from tomorrow onwards. They will see whether it is really effective. My saying is not the final answer. They are the judges, they are gynecologists, they are seeing elderly women, they are treating elderly women, they have given an option. Let them try, let them say that whether it is effective or whether it is not effective. Madam, if it is effective, it is very well. We have a promise which is fulfilled to our elderly women. If it is not effective, it will also go down the drain like soy isoflavone or other drugs. But I hope that this drug, the new molecule which I have proposed, will have a good future in future. Thank
yes,
you.
sir. Thank you very much. And yes, sir, it will work. Definitely, it will work. So
Let's see.
Yes,
Yeah, Tapanda, any question? I
so
see.
there are questions, yes, sir. So can I read out?
Yeah. Please go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. So the first question is from Dr. Kavita. The question is, if postmenopausal woman is using Avalon cream and if the burning sensation is not going away or it is not subsiding, then what is the advice for this patient?
See, madam, a postmenopausal woman, I have already told that she has lack of estrogen, which causes dryness of vagina, and there is loss of lubrication, loss of glandular tissue, and this causes dryness. That is called, and there is a rupture of the cell, which can causes bleeding, and the normal Dodelian bacilli is replaced by infective organisms, other bacilli, which can causes infection and so on things. And this causes the burning sensation in vagina. But believe me, if you do give Evalon cream, it will act locally. It will do corneation of the vaginal epithelium, and this will greatly relieve our symptom. And most of the urogenital symptoms in postmenopausal women will be relieved by this. If you don't get it, there are other things, other symptoms, other medicine can also be given to it.
Right, so thank you. So next question is from Dr. Payal. The patient is 49 years old with genitourinary symptoms, obesity. Patient has hypertension, diabetes, altered lipid profile, and she needs a treatment for perimenopausal for her perimenopausal symptoms and also to reach menopause. So, what is your advice?
Madam, this is a typical feature. Obesity, hypertension, diabetes is associated with endometrial hypertension, endometrial hypertrophy, and this is a typical feature of endometrial CA. If not CA, it is endometrial hyperplasia, and these women are susceptible. Please do a complete investigation of these women and do a biopsy and see. Can I? Where is her question? Yes, madam. The second part.
So patient needs a perimenopausal treatment to delay menopause. So what is your advice? That is the question.
Madam, there is no drug which is available today which can delay menopause. We are giving medicine to minimize the problem of menopause. You will give uh, in vitro supplementation of estrogen for menopausal problems. Here, there is no such drug which is available which will delay menopause because follicular depletion is a normal process. It will occur of its own. You cannot have any drug is available, no drug is available today which will stop follicular depletion today. So if follicular depletion goes on, the follicular exhausted, then estrogen will be exhausted. The estrogen which you are giving from outside in form of valerate or conjugated or estriol, whatever, is not the exact replica of the estrogen which is synthesized in the body. We have no answer to any drug today available to delay menses and delay menopause. But we certainly promise to relieve the menopausal symptom, early, intermediate, and late symptoms and problems. Definitely we have a thing. And even then, we are still waiting for an ideal molecule, ideal drug for menopausal hormone therapy, menopausal hormone replacement therapy.
Right,
But
sir. Thank you.
till that, we are waiting. Yes, madam.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sorry to disturb.
And this drug, I do not know. A small study of mine. You need a large number of women to be used to see the effectiveness, to see the efficacy. Then only we can be satisfied, Madam Prachi. You must also understand that 100 women, 200 women, minimum 1,000 women should get the medicine to study their effectiveness, study that they are actually getting symptom relief. Then only we will be happy with the drug. Yes.
Yes, I totally agree. Big study is needed. So next question is from Dr. Sangeeta, and the question is, can we use estrogen to avoid menopausal symptoms? So can we give it as a
This is
prophylactically?
this I have already told you that it can be used in premenopausal period, perimenopausal period, and menopausal period.
Right.
The purpose of giving estrogen is to reduce the 9 problems. Basically, these vasomotor symptoms, the psychological problem, and the urological problem. And to certain extent, for osteoporotic or improving bone mineral density. So it can be used in pre, peri, and postmenopausal period. And this is a drug which can be used in all these periods. Let's see and hope for the best.
Right, so thank you. So next question is from Dr. Sujata. The question is about a patient who is 23 years old and had a surgical
20,
menopause.
43.
23, sir.
23, acha.
Menopause due to cancer treatment.
All right.
And the question is, patient has no menopausal symptoms. So should we start HRT, or if symptoms appear, then only we should give HRT? And how long HRT should be given?
Oh, madam, actually the women which have premature menopause and surgically or chemically, radiotherapy, induced menopause, they have severe menopausal symptom, severe in comparison to normally attained menopause. The women who naturally attain menopause suffer less in comparison to this induced menopause or premature menopause women. And these women need hormone replacement therapy. This will be first line of treatment, and this should be started at the earliest when the problem menopausal symptoms start. And normally it should continue till the age of natural menopause. But the thing is that during the entire period, the woman has to be under regular thorough checkup and screening for breast and endometrial CA. Second thing is that other drugs, and I will propose that like Estrogen or can be given, Estrogen 100 can be given, but in these women, uh, hormone replacement therapy is the first choice. And again, that should be not continued indefinite period. That should be used for a maximum period of 2 to 3 years. Then again, screening and checking. Then again, you can start if there is no risk factor. If the symptoms are reduced, you can switch over to other drugs like Estrogen 100, and this will greatly benefit the problem, and there will be no cancer risk to the woman. Yes.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. So next question is there any alternative to Avalon cream for vaginal dryness?
See, vaginal dryness in menopausal women, the treatment of choice is estrogen cream. The estrogen formulation which is available today are either Evolon cream or equine estrogen or Premarin cream. Estrogen is the answer. The other cream which can be used, or bland cream which can be used, they have only the role in vaginal lubrication. This lubricating gel or aphrodisiac gel, as is told, available in Sri Lanka, Thailand and other countries, we really do not know what is their contents, but they do not improve or repair the vaginal epithelium. It is the estrogen in the postmenopausal women which can repair and improve the vaginal epithelium. Other creams are only for vaginal lubrication, only for sexual satisfaction, nothing else.
Right, sir. Thank you. So there are many questions about estrogen dose. So I would like to say that
You can say that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is taken twice a day, and at least 3 months treatment is necessary.
12 weeks.
Yes, sir. 12 weeks.
This is the part Estrogen 100 has to be taken by Prachi. And because this is the brainchild of SEALD, and this is being promoted, I have my small experience, and all these doctors which are present today, 131 I suppose, how many today? 130 present, and they should have a trial, and they should see the efficacy of Estrogen 100 to satisfy themselves, so that their patients are cured, their patient suffering is diminished, and they have a better quality of life. Yes, 100 milligram tablet twice daily for 3 months. Then
is the dose, right, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So next question is from Dr. Sumita Lakshmi. Is there any other treatment for vasomotor symptoms?
Madam, many things have been tried in the past for vasomotor symptoms. Till we could know that it is the loss of estrogen or fall of estrogen level in perimenopausal women and postmenopausal women, which alters the temperature regulation system in the cortex brain of a female. And it is told that the number one choice for vasomotor symptoms will be estrogen. And yes, Charubala, yes, I could see you, yes. The number one choice is estrogen replacement, and we are only worried that estrogen on long term can cause cancer risk. And this also cannot be given in women with existing cancer. This also cannot be given with family history of cancer. In those cases, you must have a supplementary therapy. And the alternative therapy is Estrogen 100. And other drugs have been tried in the past. So, and when hormone therapy fell out of grace, we switched to alternative therapy. And alternative therapy in form of plant extract, soya isoflavones, black cohosh, red clover, so on and so forth. Along with that, we try to have holistic approach. exercise, yoga, meditation, aromatherapy, magnetotherapy, so on and so forth. And but the benefit which is achieved by the alternative therapy were not comparable with hormone therapy. But at the end, because of the risk, it is told that it can be used in the smallest possible doses in the shortest possible period. Madam Bindu Tandon, namaskar. I am seeing you after a long time. Yes, madam. Namaskar. Yes, madam. Next.
So one last question, sir. In
Yeah.
case HRT is given, hormonal replacement therapy, so
Yes.
then what could be your choice and also the dose?
Right. See, if you see, before that, I will have a small discussion about WHI trial.
Right.
Madam, WHI trial was done with a good intention to see the effectiveness of hormone therapy in postmenopausal women. But the problem is that they selected the wrong population. Wrong population means they selected women, any woman, up to age of 72, and women from 50 to 72, and some of the women, and as the age advances, the woman has a cardiovascular problem, the woman has already existing diseases, and these diseases are aggravated, and it is not the estrogen component, it is the progesterone component, the medroxyprogesterone acetate, which is given as the progesterone component, is the culprit. And now that we are thinking that we'll bring back hormone replacement therapy. We have other alternative. I have told you the 17 beta estradiol hemihydrate, and that is the number one. Estrogen and progesterone supplementation as alternative therapy. We are going to other newer molecules of progesterone, and these progesterone molecules are having less side effects. For this, they are becoming safer day by day. But the molecule is still on, and today we are having combined equine estrogen half a dose. It was 0.625 milligram. Now it is available 0.3 milligram of combined equine estrogen along with other components. And this is the lowest dose or a smaller dose. It can be used for a period of 3 to 5 years.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir, there are no more questions. I don't find any more questions. So,
okay, madam.
Sir, one more question, sir. So
Yeah.
Can I take that question?
Yeah.
So this patient is young woman. She had a surgical menopause, and should we start estrogen 100 immediately, or only if they become symptomatic?
You can give estrogen 100 immediately for a replacement therapy, and more so if you find if you delay it, you can, but it can be immediately supplemented following surgery or the things. But we normally wait for the menopausal symptoms to appear, then only we give. It is you will be able to say that does it have a prophylactic effect. Prachi, your study will say that the prophylactic use of estrogen 100 in such women, is there any study by SILD? And I think you can always give, there is no harm, it is safer, it is a herbal preparation, and it can be given. It will not cause any harm.
Right, sir. So there are no contraindications as well. So
right. You have already shown in that we don't find any contraindication for use of estrogen 100.
Right, sir. So thank you, sir. That was the last question. And,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the excellent presentation, for your time, and we are really happy and honored to have you for this webinar, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your use, madam and sir, your use of the drug, your opinion matters a lot for me and for the promoter of this drug, estrogen 100. You are the best judge. You only, on your study, your patient satisfaction can judge, can make this patient medicine good or bad. With these few words, I thank you all. Namaskar to everybody, and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.